Every day you wake up is a fresh chance to do something different, something better. Yet most people waste this opportunity by diving straight into distractions, routines they hate, or excuses that delay their progress. Taking ownership of your day isn't about becoming robotic or controlling every second of your schedule. It's about making the conscious decision to live intentionally instead of reacting mindlessly. The moment you open your eyes, you have a choice to take charge or to let life push you around. It starts with something as simple as getting out of bed when your alarm rings. That decision might seem small, but it sets the tone for everything that follows. If the first thing you do is hit snooze, you're already choosing avoidance. You're reinforcing a habit that says, I can delay, I can pause my commitment to myself. But if you get up the moment you said you would, you build self-respect. You prove to yourself that your word matters. And when your own promises to yourself matter, everything changes. Taking ownership of your day means no longer handing over control to circumstances, to people, to habits that don't serve you. You stop waiting for motivation to show up. You stop needing others to push you. You become the one who decides. When you work, how you grow, and what kind of energy you bring to your actions, you stop being the passenger and become the driver. And this doesn't require perfection. It requires consistency, self-awareness, and accountability. When you take charge of your day, you create space for the things that matter. You stop filling your hours with urgency and start prioritizing what will move you forward. That could be taking care of your health, deep work on a meaningful project, spending time with people who matter, or even rest, intentional rest. The difference is that you're deciding instead of reacting. You're not just following a script handed to you by your job, society, or expectations. You are rewriting it in real time. You must also understand that excuses are the enemy of ownership. They're sneaky, convincing, and often comforting, but they are thieves. Every excuse robs you of a piece of your potential. It tells you that the reason you're not improving is something outside of your control. But when you accept that everything begins with you, your choices, your mindset, your habits, you take your power back. You stop waiting for the right time, the perfect setup, or the green light from someone else. You realize the green light was always within you. Ownership requires discipline, and discipline starts with awareness. What are the patterns holding you back? What time-wasting behaviors are disguised as just relaxing? What thoughts keep running through your mind that stop you from acting? These are the things that need your attention, not blame, not shame, but attention and action. Because when you become aware of the ways you're giving your power away, you can begin to pull it back. Taking control of your day also means saying no. No to distractions, no to people who drain your energy, no to habits that sabotage your progress. And while saying no is uncomfortable, it's essential. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your growth, you say yes to something that does. That's how you create momentum, by cutting the noise and narrowing your focus. The truth is, no one's going to do this for you. No one's coming to live your life for you. The world is full of people waiting for the weekend, waiting for luck, waiting for motivation. But you're not here to wait. You're here to act, to lead yourself, to build a routine that lifts you, to make decisions that reflect your values, not your fears. In the end, taking ownership of your day is about self-respect. It's about saying, I'm worth the effort. Because once you start treating your time as valuable, your energy as sacred, and your goals as non-negotiable, you shift into a new level of living. One that's not reactive, but intentional. One that's not based on wishful thinking, but deliberate doing. So tomorrow, when you wake up, remember, it starts the moment your eyes open. That moment belongs to you. Own it. Because how you start your day can change how you live your life. Mastering your mind is one of the hardest yet most powerful things you can ever do. The mind is the control center of everything, your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your beliefs. If your mind is chaotic, distracted, or ruled by fear and doubt, your life will reflect that disorder. On the other hand, if your mind is disciplined, focused, and resilient, then no matter what life throws at you, you will always find a way forward. The battle begins and ends in your head, and unless you learn how to win it daily, you will constantly be stuck in a cycle of frustration, procrastination, and regret. The problem is most people let their mind control them instead of the other way around. Thoughts of failure, insecurity, or comparison pop up and they accept them as truth, but your thoughts are not facts. They are just patterns you've either developed over time or absorbed from your environment. If you want to change your life, you have to start breaking the patterns that sabotage you and build new ones that strengthen you. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens moment by moment by choosing thoughts that serve your growth instead of your fear. Mental mastery means having the awareness to pause before reacting. When anxiety creeps in, when doubt whispers in your ear, when you feel like quitting, you don't just go with it. You stop. You observe. You choose differently. You remind yourself that you are not your emotions. You are the observer of them. This is where real strength is built, not in controlling everything, but in controlling your response to everything. Most importantly, you build a mindset through consistent action. Confidence, resilience, and discipline are not traits you're born with. They're forged in the fire of repetition. When you do the hard things, especially when you don't feel like it, you're sending a signal to your brain, I am in charge. Every time you push through discomfort, you build trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself, fear begins to lose its grip. You no longer need motivation because your habits have become your new identity. But this battle is daily. There will never be a point where your mind won't try to test you. That's why discipline is essential. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-love in action. It's saying, I care about my future more than I care about temporary pleasure. It's waking up early when it's easier to sleep in. It's choosing a workout when your mind screams for comfort. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to your goals. And the more you practice it, the stronger your mind becomes. Self-talk is another vital part of mental mastery. If you constantly criticize yourself, focus on what's wrong, or talk yourself out of taking action, you're training your mind to see limits instead of possibilities. But when you speak to yourself with belief, with strength, with clarity, you build a foundation that no setback can shake. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to believe that you can handle whatever comes your way. Your environment also plays a huge role in the way your mind operates. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, laziness, or small-minded thinking, it will pull you down. But when you surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you, who think big, you rise. Protect your mental space the same way you protect your physical space. Guard what you consume, who you listen to, and what you allow into your daily routine. Meditation, journaling, and intentional solitude are tools, not trends. They are ways to reset, to observe your thoughts without judgment, to reconnect with your purpose. Even 10 minutes a day can help you notice patterns that have been running you unconsciously, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Awareness is the first step and action is the second. Without both, you stay stuck. At the end of the day, mastering your mind isn't about never struggling. It's about developing the ability to choose strength in the middle of struggle. It's the calm you create in chaos, the courage you choose in fear, and the focus you maintain in distraction. And no one else can do it for you. This is your responsibility, your challenge, and your freedom. The more control you gain over your thoughts, the more control you gain over your life. And that control, earned through discipline, awareness, and repetition, is where true power begins. Taking care of your body is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect and self-leadership. Your body is not just a vessel carrying you through life. It's the engine of your energy, your discipline, your mindset, and ultimately your success. Without physical health, everything becomes harder. Thinking clearly, staying motivated, managing emotions, or even just getting through the day. Yet many people overlook this fundamental truth and treat their body like an afterthought, only giving it attention when things go wrong. But your body is not something to neglect until it's broken. It's something to strengthen so it can carry you further than you ever imagined. If you want to achieve more, feel better, and operate at your highest potential, your body must become a priority. This doesn't mean extreme diets, endless gym sessions, or chasing aesthetics. It means taking consistent, meaningful care of yourself through the basics: movement, nutrition, sleep, and recovery. These aren't just physical acts, they're mental training grounds. Every time you exercise when you don't feel like it, Every time you eat clean instead of reaching for junk, every time you choose rest over burnout, you are reinforcing the message that your future matters more than your impulses. Movement is a form of medicine. When you move your body, you're not just improving strength or appearance, you're improving your brain function, your mood, and your ability to focus. Exercise produces chemicals like dopamine and endorphins that boost motivation, reduce anxiety, and make you feel alive. Even a short walk, a few minutes of stretching, or a basic workout can change the way you think and feel in real time. And when done consistently, it becomes a mental anchor, something you can rely on when everything else feels chaotic. What you feed your body becomes what you feed your mind. Every meal is a vote for clarity or confusion, for energy or exhaustion. Too often, we seek comfort in food and end up feeling worse afterward, tired, bloated, and emotionally drained. You don't need a perfect diet to succeed. You need a conscious one. One where you ask yourself, is this fueling my goals or fighting them? Start simple. Drink more water, eat more real whole foods. Avoid the things you know drain you. This is not punishment. It's preparation for the challenges, the dreams, and the level of life you're aiming for. Sleep is another non-negotiable pillar of physical and mental success. Without rest, your brain can't process information properly, your body can't recover, your emotions spiral, and yet sleep is often the first thing sacrificed when life gets busy. But the truth is, the less you sleep, the more you're sabotaging your growth. Good sleep isn't laziness, it's leverage. It sharpens your mind, regulates your hormones, and gives you the patience, strength, and resilience you need to lead your life effectively. Create a nighttime routine. Set boundaries with your screen time. Treat your sleep like a strategy, not an inconvenience. And let's not forget recovery. In a world that glorifies hustle and burnout, rest has become misunderstood. Recovery is not quitting, it's refueling. Whether it's taking a break, meditating, spending time in nature, or simply unplugging for a few hours, these moments help reset your nervous system and prevent breakdown. Recovery allows you to come back stronger. Ignoring it doesn't make you tougher, it makes you weaker in the long run. The body and mind are not separate. How you treat your body directly impacts your thoughts, your emotions, and your decisions. A weak, tired, overworked body creates a foggy, frustrated, and reactive mind. But a strong, energized, and nourished body creates clarity, drive, and mental toughness. The discipline you build through physical habits bleeds into every area of your life. You begin to walk taller, speak with more certainty, and approach challenges with greater resilience, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Caring for your body isn't a side quest, it's the foundation of everything. When your body is aligned with your goals, your performance multiplies. You don't need to be an athlete, you need to be consistent. You don't need perfection, you need progress. Every workout, every healthy meal, every good night of sleep is a silent declaration that you are committed to your growth. It's not just self-care, it's self-leadership. And the way you treat your body is a mirror of how serious you are about the life you want to build. The words you speak, especially to yourself, shape your reality more than you realize. They are not just sounds or thoughts. They are instructions to your brain, commands to your subconscious, and blueprints for your future. Every time you open your mouth, whether out loud or silently in your own head, you're either building yourself up or breaking yourself down. That's why speaking with intention and truth is not just a nice idea. It's essential if you want to create a life of power, purpose, and direction. People underestimate the damage done by careless self-talk. When you constantly say things like, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, or I'll never be like them, you're not just expressing insecurity, you're training your brain to believe it. And the more you repeat these words, the more they become your identity. You act in line with what you believe about yourself. If you tell yourself you're lazy, you won't even try. If you tell yourself you're not smart, you won't put yourself in challenging situations. Your words set limits, or they set you free. Speaking with strength doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means choosing words that reflect the truth of your potential rather than the fear of your past. Instead of saying, I can't, try saying, I haven't yet. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say I'm learning. Instead of this is too hard, say this is a chance to grow. You don't have to be blindly optimistic, but you do have to be intentional. Your words should move you forward, not hold you hostage. And when you talk to others, the same rules apply. Negative, small, gossipy, or bitter conversations weaken not only your energy, but your presence. People who constantly complain or speak about problems more than solutions are reinforcing a victim mindset. When you shift the way you speak, when you speak with confidence, clarity, and courage, people listen differently. You carry a different energy. You become someone others trust, admire, and are drawn to. And more importantly, you become someone you respect. One of the most important changes you can make is to stop speaking as if you're waiting for permission. Too many people speak hesitantly, apologetically, or filled with doubt, as if they need someone else to validate their dreams, their goals, or even their right to be heard. That ends the moment you realize your voice is yours and it has value. You don't need to shrink to fit someone else's comfort. You don't need to speak quietly so others don't feel insecure. You need to speak truthfully, not arrogantly, but with grounded confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. You also need to get brutally honest with yourself when needed. Too many people coddle their own weaknesses with soft language. They say things like, I'm just tired, when the truth is they're undisciplined. They say, I don't have time, when the truth is they're wasting it. Speaking the truth to yourself can hurt, but it's the kind of pain that creates progress, because once you face the truth, you can change it. As long as you keep sugarcoating your behavior with gentle lies, you stay stuck. Truth cuts, but it also heals. Your language sets the tone for your life. If you constantly speak in terms of limitations, fear, or failure, your actions will follow. But if you shift your language to reflect strength, solutions, and possibility, you begin to lead your life instead of reacting to it. Even in the darkest moments, your words can be your lifeline. They can remind you who you are, what you're capable of, and why quitting is not an option. And let's be clear, changing your language isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about learning to speak in a way that gives you power even in imperfection. It's about framing your struggle as growth, not defeat. It's about choosing to be intentional with your inner dialogue, especially when things get hard. Every word is a seed. You're planting something every time you speak, and what you water will grow. If you constantly speak doubt, doubt will grow. But if you begin to speak purposefully, with vision, with discipline, with belief, then courage, clarity, and confidence will begin to take root. And soon, those words won't just be something you say, they'll be something you live. Taking full responsibility for your life is one of the most empowering decisions you can ever make. It means no more blaming others, no more waiting for perfect conditions, and no more playing the victim. It means standing up, looking in the mirror and saying, everything in my life, my habits, my results, my success or failure, is in my hands. That may sound harsh, but it's the truth that sets you free. Because the moment you take ownership, you reclaim control. And without control, you are at the mercy of circumstance. It's easy to blame. It's easy to point at your childhood, your job, your family, the economy, or your past and say, this is why I can't change. But none of that blame helps you grow. None of it gives you power. Blame might make you feel temporarily justified, but it keeps you powerless in the long run. When you constantly shift responsibility outward, you're saying, I have no say in my future. But when you own it all, even the parts that weren't your fault, you unlock the ability to shape what happens next. Responsibility doesn't mean everything that happened to you is fair. Life throws unfair situations at all of us. Pain, failure, betrayal, setbacks. Those experiences leave scars. But responsibility is not about guilt. It's about growth. It's saying, what happened may not be my fault, but how I respond is fully mine. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond, how you rebuild, and how you move forward. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise. When you take full ownership, your entire mindset shifts. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You stop waiting for motivation to strike or for the right time to appear. You start moving, even if it's messy, even if it's slow. You start showing up for your goals, not because someone is watching, but because you've made a promise to yourself. Responsibility transforms your self-worth. It says, I am capable. I am accountable. I am in charge of creating the life I want. This kind of mindset requires brutal honesty. You have to call yourself out. You have to admit where you've been slacking, where you've been making excuses, and where you've been playing small. It's not easy. It takes courage to face your patterns and habits and say, this isn't who I want to be. But it's only through that honesty that you begin to change. You don't grow by hiding from yourself. You grow by facing yourself raw, unfiltered, and real. Taking responsibility also means taking initiative. You don't wait for opportunities, you create them. You don't wait to be told what to do, you figure it out. And when you make mistakes, you own them. You learn, you adapt, you evolve. You stop fearing failure because you understand that failure is not the end, it's feedback. It's part of the process. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who never stop taking responsibility for the next step. When you make this shift, everything changes. Your work ethic changes. You stop cutting corners. You stop blaming others for what you lack. You stop thinking life owes you something. You become the kind of person who earns your results through discipline, effort, and relentless accountability. And people notice. Opportunities come to those who take ownership. Trust is built with those who follow through. Growth happens to those who keep showing up even when it's hard. Responsibility isn't a burden. It's your greatest power. It means your future is not left to chance. It's not dependent on who did what to you or what didn't go right in the past. It means your progress is yours to build, brick by brick, action by action. And yes, it's hard, but it's also freeing. Because when you know that you are in charge, you stop wasting energy on blame and start putting that energy into progress. The truth is, nobody is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. That's your job. That's your mission. And the sooner you accept that, the faster you'll grow. Responsibility isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to improve, willing to own your flaws, and willing to fight for the future you know you're capable of creating. That's when life stops happening to you and starts being shaped by you. Distractions are everywhere. They're in your pocket, your inbox, your notifications, your thoughts, quietly stealing time, energy, and focus from the goals you say matter most. The modern world doesn't just offer distractions, it thrives on them. Every app, every headline, every meaningless scroll is designed to pull you in and keep you stuck. If you don't consciously protect your focus, you will live every day reacting instead of creating, consuming instead of building, and drifting instead of growing. Focus is not just a productivity hack. It's a survival skill in today's world. Without focus, you cannot think deeply, work efficiently, or connect meaningfully. Without focus, you waste hours on things that don't serve your purpose, and then you wonder why you feel unfulfilled. But here's the truth. You don't lack time, you lack clarity and discipline in how you spend that time. Reclaiming your focus is about making a choice to stop letting the outside world control your attention and start directing it toward what actually matters. So that begins with recognizing what your distractions are. For many, it's the phone. Hours are lost in endless swiping, comparing, watching lives that aren't yours while yours waits in the background untouched. You have to be honest about how much time you're wasting and where it's going. Distraction doesn't just steal your time, it steals your presence. You can't be fully present in your goals, your relationships, or your growth if you're constantly pulled in 100 directions. And if you don't fix this, you'll wake up one day with a lifetime of half-finished efforts and a heart full of regret. The solution isn't to try harder, it's to design smarter. Remove what doesn't serve you. Turn off notifications, set boundaries with your phone, your TV, even certain people. Create spaces where focus is possible. Protect your mornings, guard your evenings, and use your prime energy hours on work that builds you, not drains you. Don't rely on willpower alone. Create systems, routines, and environments that eliminate the need for constant decisions. Simplicity is your ally. The fewer distractions you allow, the more energy you free up for deep, meaningful work. Multitasking is another myth that destroys focus. When you divide your attention, you dilute your impact. Jumping from task to task may feel productive, but in reality, it fragments your thinking and exhausts your brain. You need blocks of time where your mind can go deep, undisturbed. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's where momentum builds. Focus is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. But if you never allow yourself to go deep, you stay stuck on the surface, never reaching your true potential. People often mistake being busy for being focused, but busy is just noise without direction. Focus means knowing exactly what matters and doing it with intensity and presence. A focused person gets more done in 1 hour than a distracted person does in a whole day. Why? Because they're clear, they're intentional, they don't waste energy switching gears every 5 minutes. They're not constantly reacting to every ping, message, or interruption. They've chosen what deserves their attention, and they guard it with everything they've got. And then there's the internal distraction, your own thoughts, doubt, fear, overthinking. These mental loops steal more focus than any phone ever could. You need to create mental stillness. Meditation, journaling, breath work, these aren't luxury rituals. They're practical tools to clear the mental clutter and help you hear your own voice again. When your mind is quiet, your priorities become obvious. You stop chasing shiny things and start committing to the things that actually move you forward. Most importantly, you need to remember that focus is freedom. The more focused you are, the less anxious you feel. The more focused you are, the more time you have. The more focused you are, the better your results. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, but with more intensity. You need to do what matters and block out the rest. You won't get your focus back by accident. You have to fight for it. You have to protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't have unlimited time or energy. Every hour you give to distraction is an hour you'll never get back. So cut the noise, cancel the unnecessary, say no more often, and build a life where your attention is no longer scattered, but sharp, clear, and powerful. Because in a world of distraction, the ability to focus is no longer common, it's a superpower. Success is not built overnight, nor is it born from a single burst of motivation. It is crafted through the slow, steady, and often unseen power of consistency. So many people want massive change. They want transformation, progress, results. But they chase it through occasional intensity rather than daily effort. They go hard for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, and then burn out when it doesn't deliver instant results. But the truth is simple and undeniable. Consistency beats intensity every single time. You don't need to completely overhaul your life in one day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up again and again, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. That's how trust is built, with yourself and with the process. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even in small ways, you prove that you are someone who follows through. And that sense of internal reliability becomes the foundation for confidence, progress, and discipline. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's often boring, repetitive, and invisible. It's waking up and doing the work when no one is watching. It's making the better choice even when there's no applause. It's choosing growth when comfort is screaming your name. And that's why it's so powerful, because few are willing to do it. Anyone can give their best for a day, but can you give your best for a week, a month, a year? That's where the real winners are separated from the rest. When you embrace consistency, you start to understand the compound effect. A single workout won't change your body. A single book won't change your mind. A single productive day won't transform your life. But when you stack those actions day after day, the results are exponential. You won't always see the reward immediately, and that's what frustrates most people. They give up because they don't see results fast enough. But progress lives in the shadows before it shines in the spotlight. It's in the grind, the habit, the repetition that's where real change grows. And yes, it will get hard. There will be days when you feel like quitting, when motivation disappears, when the old habits call you back. That's normal, but consistency isn't about feeling good every day. It's about doing what's necessary regardless of how you feel. Emotions come and go, but commitment stays. If you rely on motivation, you'll fail. But if you rely on systems, routines, and habits, you'll succeed. Because habits don't care how you feel. They operate based on what you do, not how inspired you are in the moment. Another key part of consistency is patience. In a world addicted to speed, instant results, and overnight success stories, patience has become rare. And that's exactly why it's so valuable. Understand this, the most meaningful results take time. The most worthwhile growth takes time. You can't rush mastery. You can't force transformation. What you can do is show up day after day and trust the process. Trust that if you stay consistent with the right actions, the outcome will come. And let's be real, you won't always be perfect. You will miss a day. You will make a mistake. But consistency isn't perfection, it's resilience. It's getting back up one more time than you fall. It's not letting one bad day turn into a bad week. It's saying, I slipped, but I'm still in this. That mindset is what builds strength. That's what separates those who quit from those who grow. You don't need to be extreme, you need to be committed. Because the people who win in life aren't always the most talented, the smartest, or the fastest. They're the ones who didn't stop. They kept going when it was boring, when it was quiet, when it felt like nothing was changing. And then, one day, everything did change because they stayed long enough for the seeds they planted to bloom. So forget the idea that transformation comes in a flash. It comes in the grind, in the daily choices, in the disciplined habits repeated over time. If you want to change your life, don't focus on doing everything. Focus on doing the right things every single day and don't stop. That's where the real power is. That's what builds legacies. And it's available to you right now if you're willing to be consistent. The people you choose to keep around you can either elevate your life or slowly drain it. You become a reflection of the energy, mindset, and values of those you surround yourself with. If you consistently spend time with individuals who complain, make excuses, or settle for less, you will find yourself unconsciously absorbing their habits and outlook. But when you align yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to grow, your entire life begins to shift in a new direction. Your environment shapes your identity more than you realize. It silently influences your standards, your expectations, and your beliefs about what is possible. That's why you must be intentional about who gets access to your time and energy. Ask yourself, do the people around me bring clarity or confusion? Do they celebrate my growth or feel threatened by it? Do they push me forward or pull me back into comfort and stagnation? Growth requires difficult conversations, high standards, and relentless honesty. If your circle can't challenge you, they can't help you evolve. You need people who won't let you settle for less than your potential, friends who hold you accountable, mentors who speak truth, not just comfort, teammates who stay committed even when it's inconvenient. These are the people who fuel real progress. Iron sharpens iron, and you don't get stronger by surrounding yourself with dull blades. You also have to protect your energy from the wrong influences. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people are emotional leeches. They drain you, not because they're evil, but because they're stuck in cycles of negativity, fear, or laziness. It's not your job to fix them. It's your job to stay committed to your path. You can love people from a distance. You can wish them well without giving them constant access to your thoughts, time, and emotional space. This doesn't mean you cut everyone off the moment they struggle. We all go through seasons. But there's a difference between someone who's struggling and still trying and someone who's given up and wants you to join them in their resignation. Surround yourself with fighters, people who are flawed but still moving forward, people who may fall but never stay down. That's the energy you need. That's the atmosphere that encourages growth, not stagnation. The truth is, you don't outgrow people because you think you're better than them. You outgrow them because you're committed to becoming better than you were yesterday. And not everyone is willing to walk that road with you. Some will criticize you, mock you, or try to guilt you into shrinking back to who you used to be. That's not love, that's fear speaking. When people feel insecure about their own growth, they often try to discourage yours. Don't take it personally, keep moving. you must also become the kind of person you want to attract. Be the friend who challenges others. Be the one who shows up, who encourages, who raises the standard. When you operate at a high level, you naturally attract others who are doing the same. Energy recognizes energy. Ambition recognizes ambition. The right people will find you when you're walking the right path, and the wrong people will fade away. Don't underestimate the impact of just one strong connection. One honest friend, one supportive mentor, or one like-minded partner can change everything. Sometimes all you need is someone to believe in you when you've stopped believing in yourself. Someone to remind you of your vision when you've forgotten it. Someone to tell you the truth when you've been lying to yourself. Those are the relationships that are worth protecting, nurturing, and holding on to with everything you've got. Your environment either amplifies your greatness or amplifies your excuses. Choose the people who fan your flame, not the ones who try to dim your light. And remember, your future self is depending on the company you keep today. You can't build a powerful life in a weak environment. You can't grow into who you're meant to be while constantly surrounding yourself with who you used to be. In the end, growth is a journey you must walk, but you don't have to walk it alone. Find people who run beside you, not behind you. People who remind you that your goals are valid, your dreams are possible, and your effort is never wasted. Because the right people don't just support your vision, they make it stronger. And together, you'll rise.